Samir, thank you once again for being on this show, the next episode of Dhan Ki Baat. And thank you, viewers, for
Thank
watching
you.
this whenever you come and watch this. So, Samir, let's start off this episode by asking you about the year that is about to end. Been a very trying year. Started off with tariff wars, then the actual war between India and Pakistan, to an extent, a very limited one. But then you saw all these ups and downs in the market. I'm sure you've seen this kind of
Then
years.
actual tariff war. First one was general tariff war, then directed at India.
Attacking India, yeah, on the 25% additional. But Samir, I'm sure you've seen such years a lot in your life. So would you share your experience of how you see this year and what you've learned from it, or what you take away from this year?
So, although I've seen many years and many years much worse than this,
Right.
but that does not mean we liked this year. I mean, this year was bad, boring. Although our business of this mutual fund did very well, even in our offshore fund, we won one very big, obscenely big account. So generally that way it was good and our relative performance was okay. But in absolute it was a boring, bad year. But on the other hand, if you want to give it slightly positive thing, then you can say that from March onwards it has not been bad. Because if you see just the NAVs of our funds from March,
Right.
that means the market did badly
Yeah.
and then from there it's trying to recover. So simply you can see our mid cap fund, we started in March and it is up some 30%. And even in our flexi cap, I think from March it is up some 20% or 20. Please check whatever be the number. And if you also look at it in the context that the previous years were very good. I
Right.
mean, simply just to give another example of our own flexi cap fund, which has completed 2 years and whatever, 20, 30 days. Maybe less, 2 years, 2 years and maybe 20 days, 30 days. So it is up whatever, 55%. So
Right.
plus, if you actually look at this year, it is not bad, bad.
Mm.
And Nifty is up 10% this year as of right
Right.
now, year to date, because I can see it on Bloomberg. And Nifty 500 is up 6%. So it is bad, but at least it's comparable from an Indian point of view with his bank number. And normally bad years are associated with minus returns. They're
Right.
minus 10, 15, 20%.
Right.
So what is bad is A for FII, because the currency has been weak by 5%.
Very true.
Second is the people, although we are only India oriented mostly, but for somebody who's emerging market oriented XYZ, he would feel, oh my God, if I had put money in China, Korea, Taiwan, I would have been up 50%. So that also makes people sad, upset, whatever. But otherwise, it's been a badish year, but not bad, bad. It's like relatively very bad, but absolute not so bad.
Right. I think the news items are more bad than actual market reaction to those.
Yeah, market
Right.
because since September actually has recovered.
Right. Right.
And
And
actually, as I was saying, from March it has turned and then it hung around. And from October, it has actually outperformed other markets also. Other markets means it has outperformed US, it has outperformed China, and it has outperformed emerging market index. But not all the constituents. Korea, Taiwan have still done very well in this quarter. But it looks as our relative performance is changing because A, the performance difference is too big.
right.
India has underperformed by nearly some 26, 27% year to date
Yeah.
against its market. And that is the worst performance, relative performance in 30
Right.
years or whatever.
Right.
Second
Right.
is that India, whatever be the reasons for this underperformance, some of them have changed. For example, if we say tight liquidity, high interest rate, or some slowdown, some of those things because of interest rate cuts or injection of liquidity or CRR cut or general RBI saying removing some regulations, giving more freedom, and then GST cut, and therefore some, and then income tax cut, which happened
Right.
in so plus minus a few months, that should also become okay.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and third is that there is obviously some reasonable hope and expectation that at least the additional 25% tariff will be
Taken
removed
away.
because at least the requirements for that were only to do with Russian oil being bought. If we say, oh, we have to open dairy and farming and all that, that is for the other 25%.
right.
So okay, वो करो ना करो पहले at least remove.
You remove that at
So
least so
maybe
that.
after this India Russia meet and after some 10-15 days to distance it from this, they can, I don't know, sometime we hope that also is done.
Actually, right, Samir,
Plus
this is
the same
I.
news, you can't be negative again and again.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
वो टैरिफ है टैरिफ हो गया ना टैरिफ 6 महीने और लगा लो 3 महीने और but not forever that you can run with the same story.
Actually, I said you're right because I invested in my mid cap fund, which started off in March, and I'm
Correct.
a very happy investor. So I don't know
Correct.
why everybody's
No,
crying.
no, but
So
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. If you came after March, broadly you are not negative. Actually,
right,
I will tell you, even year to date, people are not negative now.
right,
In,
right,
in
right.
terms of even small cap, which somebody might say that small cap people have done badly. So small cap index is down 6% year to date. So it's not
Got
like
it.
bad in
Bad,
any.
bad as such. Okay, so that brings me to my next question, which rolls into the next year. What do you feel about the next year? I mean, there are levers available for the next year,
So
negative,
levers
positive,
are this
whatever.
only that normally there is a rotation, normally there is a back to reversal to mean kind of thing that India has done badly relatively. Second, one more reason could be for this is that people were looking for AI type investments.
Right,
Because if you are in US, you could have bought all these Nvidia types, but if you are a non-US investor or an Asian investor, emerging market investor, you chose places where you could find AI plays and
right.
those are Korea, Taiwan, and China.
Yeah,
So therefore, that could also be a reason. But now, when everyday people talk, doesn't mean I hope it doesn't correct so much because we will not get so much money if the rest of the world is cracking apart because of AI.
right,
But
right.
in general, there'll be investors who will feel it's overdone and India has otherwise done well for 5 years. It's not going to suddenly. Plus, you don't need to fund these investments from India. You can
Right,
say give less money to India. And
right.
additional money that you raise, that is these emerging market funds, Asian funds, they can invest wherever. But why are you
Uh,
redeeming? And we will be happy for now if they just stop
taking out the this thing,
selling,
yeah.
yeah, taking out money. So
So
ठीक हो
okay,
जाएगा. Plus this interest rate cut, GST cut, ये tax cut वगैरह वगैरह and liquidity वो slowly it feeds into the economy, into results. वो 3 4 6 महीने में it should be okay. So we should expect double digit returns. Actually, this year also has been double digit. And history is also double digit. The only question is it 10 or 19?
right, right,
So
right,
I would
right.
say it is in between somewhere 12, 13, 14. That type will be a good start.
Okay. And Samir, about the FIs, you already touched upon it. But what is holding them back? What do you think is the problem with these better results have now turned around? We're seeing some positive numbers,
So actually
demand
from
pickup.
from October 1, they are not negative.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
see marginally they're not in.
Right.
But
They're not in. Yeah.
but they're not going out also because there's a limit. But if you see big picture, their total AUM is say they keep saying 17-18% of the market. So must be some 800 billion or something.
Odd billion.
So
Yeah.
उसमें the total redemption this year are 17 billion.
Right.
So 2% है.
Right.
Second thing is out of this 17 billion, 10 billion was in January. तो
Okay.
उसके बाद 7 billion है.
Right.
That 7 billion is mostly from July, August onwards, which coincides with Trump tariff.
Okay.
And so if you say कि October से also it is flat as I'm saying, that means ये July, August, September में हुआ है 3 months में 7 billion. The 10, then 7. Because actually maybe a little more because March, April, May, June was positive.
Yeah.
So I really think that first part, the 10 billion we can say related to excitement in US because the whole world they were selling because Trump was coming and he was supposed to be promising, which he did, deregulation and continuation of the low tax rates. But nobody thought that tariff may there'll be so much uncertainty and randomness in some sense. So that is what caused the selling in US in March, April, and whatever. So abhi aap dekho to it's not a obscenely bad India flow situation. It is 7 billion
Right.
from February 1 if you count it like that.
Right.
हाँ?
Right. Right.
And
From there.
actually last 2 months में भी ठीक हो गया है मतलब जीरो तो हो गया है. So broadly it's okay. And for now we'll be happy with okay, which means don't sell.
And one question that we keep getting asked, Samir, always is about the rupee. I mean, that's the biggest apprehension in the market today. The way the rupee has depreciated, not only against the dollar, but far greater extent against the other global
So that
currencies.
is the real disappointment because we thought at the beginning of this year and even a little bit last year that rupee will not appreciate, but it would at least depreciate because A, it had depreciated a lot in 22, which
Right?
was 10% or so.
10
तो फिर
odd
आपको
percent,
लगता है
yeah.
कि 2-3 साल निकल जाएंगे, normally it happens in steps. And second was that US में because interest rates were hiked a lot in the last 2 years. So the idea was that US will be cutting rates and therefore US dollar will be weak. And US dollar turned out to be weak
Okay.
and it depreciated nearly 9-10% against the index of other currencies. But India
Right.
depreciated against the dollar. So against other currencies, so it has depreciated 20, 20, 30, 30%. I think against some other countries, it might have depreciated 40% of those currencies appreciated 20, 30%.
Euro, I remember it was 20%
तो वो तो
plus.
बड़ा ही नेगेटिव है. I can read it here somewhere on my Bloomberg. वो तो बहुत ही ज्यादा हो गया. Which I
Mm.
agree. Year to date, let me just quickly tell you some numbers. 36, okay, Russia है. Russia is 36%. Okay, don't count it much. But ये 11 कौन सा है जी? Euro is up 11.
Acha, okay. 11
So
against the
we are
dollar. Okay.
down 5. So we are
5 to 60.
16% against euro. Something like that. Yeah. So that is a bit of a negative. But उसमें क्या है कि the Indian but why is the Indian retail guy overly bothered? He is counting it in rupees. Of course, if he wants to go to Europe, he'll realize that it is 16% more expensive. But broadly speaking, अब ये भी हो गया because of this FI selling, private equity selling, etc. And also again the Trump thing because we from the stock market point of view thought and believe that it does not matter because the GDP impact is low. These sectors are very not in the listed space.
Right.
If exporting shrimps or carpets or gems and jewelry, normally ये listed companies नहीं है. बट ओवरऑल कुछ डॉलर बेचारे बना के तो ला ही रहे थे ना काफी सारे. So all that is happening. But currency also doesn't keep doing. Ultimately we have 700 billion or whatever we have. And second thing is it may be that the RBI has chosen to not even use, even if they had the firepower, which they have some firepower for sure, not use it because they say we have to compensate for the fact that otherwise tariffs are higher on India than on other places. तो उसका
Right.
5% तो कम
So
कराओ
just
और तो
to,
50 है वो. But at least for other countries. Not
right,
so
right,
much for
right.
US, where
US.
50% tariff you can't compensate with a 5% depreciation. But
Right.
against other countries में export भेज के to neutralize the
This,
loss of US market. So whatever be the reason, but I don't think this also is one way. Even if you say, like many people say, 92 हो जाएगा. अब से तो 1% दूर है ना. तो 1% के लिए what we can do.
so, okay, anyway, that's about the markets and economy and all. Now, let me go to the problems that we face on a regular basis, the questions that we face on a regular basis.
Problem. Don't
No,
think
not
that
problem.
questions from people are problems.
No, no, sorry. The questions that we face on a regular basis. One question that we are asked always is the advantage of mutual funds on taxation front vis-a-vis the PMS that we have with us.
So
That is
you are
much more
asked
tax
because you are
inefficient.
also the PMS.
Yes, yes,
Otherwise, why
yes.
will they ask you? Okay.
Yeah,
So I would think that actually the difference is not big as people believe, because the general impression is that mutual funds may there is no tax till you sell,
right,
and then people forget that they will one day sell, or they
right,
assume that they will never sell. Then there's no use. And in the PMS, the idea will be that if you are making 15% per year, every year you will have to pay 2.25% as tax, mota mati 15%,
right,
12.5 plus surcharge. So every year आपका 15% will be only 12, 13, and therefore compounding. Actual life you have to see. The actual life is because we have studied it for
right,
so our life. For 9 years you were running with ICICI, so we understand this. The point is the way an actual portfolio works is that the stocks that are doing well, you don't sell so easily every year. So the
right,
NAV is up, but the stocks which are making gains, normally are the ones you were always hoping that, oh, I hope my stock goes up.
Yes.
So, for example, for us, Zomato, we bought at 52. I don't think the PMS guy sold one
No,
share
never.
since 52. अब an outsider will say कि 52 का 300 हो गया तो इसने तो दे दिए होंगे, कुछ नहीं, किसी को कुछ नहीं दिया, 5 साल हो गए, 3 साल जो भी हो गए. Similarly, we bought in the olden days, used to buy Bajaj Finance, we made some 30-40 times. तो पहले दिन थोड़ा टैक्स दिया है. So in the end, you're paying tax after 4 or 5 years, which is effectively the, if you assume that a mutual fund guy will ultimately have to pay. And second thing is that, according to me, which will benefit us also one day, because obviously mutual fund for us will be a much bigger business.
Right.
Is that the guys who invest in a mutual fund, even if the mutual fund is underperforming, which we hope it never happens for us, but it might happen, the redemptions are limited.
Yeah.
Because if previously gains had been made, because the investor says, oh my God, I know my fund is currently underperforming, but if I redeem to go into something better,
Right.
I will have to pay 15% tax. To 12 and a half plus charcha, whatever. तो वो लगा रहता है. So actually there might be a lot of money currently in the country blocked in funds which even the investor believes कि अब नहीं चल रहा, but पहले चल
हाँ
रहा था.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
वो कहते हैं नहीं नहीं वापस चल पड़ेगा कभी.
हाँ.
Correct? So there might be some small difference here or there, but then this is the trade-off. And broadly, our feeling is, and you should say the same thing to the distributors or whoever is asking you this question, कि भैया the investor is not some clueless fellow in a PMS stroke
Right.
AIF. They are
Right.
putting 10 crores and 50 crores. They are not guys, you didn't realize that there is no tax. Like all these advisors come on our Twitter world to say as if there are dumb people on one side and it is their job to
Yeah.
this thing.
Guide.
So it's not very clear, but many people in the beginning, I remember when we were setting up the PMS in 2011 with ICICI. So we had made this theoretical thing कि if you make this much return, this is the loss and all that. वो कोई खास फर्क नहीं था, तभी तो चलता है business. It couldn't have
Right.
become
Right.
this big without that. So it's okay.
Okay, another question that we asked is on SIF. Obviously, one reason is that
मेरे को Twitter
we're
also they
not,
ask me a lot. We can't do it is the basic answer.
yeah, one
That the
answer.
SIF,
We
the
can do a side route by
yeah,
hiring,
but
but
I'm saying
still
currently we are not.
we're not
Yeah,
that keen
yeah.
on launching it. And
Maybe,
I
but
keep answering, but want to hear
first
from
thing is
you.
we can't do is the correct answer. Why
Yeah.
should we have to hire some new guy? We don't want to hire. We are the hired guys. So we can't do it because the rule is 3 year track record of the
Right.
mutual fund and 10,000 crore AUM. Okay, so that is one. But the thing is this, the concept of SIF, is it trying to beat equity returns? Is it
Right.
equity plus? So, people ask me on Twitter many times because I run the long short fund, the FPI fund, that you will be good in SIF. But the structure of the long short fund is that our gross, which means long plus short. So I'm 120 long, 50 short. So my net is 70 long minus
Right.
short. In
Right.
an SIF, I don't know fully, but I believe the total can only be 100. That
Yeah.
means long plus short can be 100. Then
Right.
with that, you don't have enough scope and enough effectively leverage. In my case, because I'm 120 long and 50 short. So against compared to a normal guy who might be in a SIF context, might be 100 long, 30 short. Even that is not allowed to him. But suppose that
Right.
was allowed. Suppose. So मेरा 20 extra long है, 20 extra short है. Now,
Right.
I may not make separately money on short and all that, but what 20 minus 20 may I can make 10% a year spread
Right.
में. Because
Spread
I
only
didn't
on
know
the
which
purely on
long
the
is
spread.
better than which short.
Right.
In absolute, both may go up or both may go down. But ideally, it'll be great if one goes up and the other goes down. But घूम फिर के 7-8-10% बन जाते हैं. So that gives me 2-3% advantage.
Right.
And so these are the things which make a long short fund once in a while, like we have done, beat the long only index.
Long only.
But अगर आप constrain कर दो तो वो अलग, तो it's not a wrong thing, it's a different concept. It
Right.
might be a debt plus or an arbitrage
Right.
plus. So वो I think let others do and then we will see कि वो positioning हमारे से जेल होता है कि नहीं होता. Whether we want that positioning कि we are debt type guys. Currently we have no we don't create this impression that we are debt type guys. We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
equity
we
guys.
definitely not. We definitely not. Okay, and Samir, one more question that we ask normally is today, though, anyway, you can't do it because the RBI limit has been set for investing abroad, right, in
Hmm.
international securities.
Everybody should
And
invest abroad.
yeah,
Everybody
so
should invest abroad.
no,
And
but one thing I want to, so there are two questions. One is about us. I mean, when the limit is opened, will we invest as a mutual fund? As a mutual fund, will we
that
invest?
I think you should invest.
Yeah, yeah. I want your guidance on that. And the second question is that you already have a offshore fund, but you're not entertaining
I am
new
not.
money
Yeah, yeah,
there.
understood, understood.
Yeah. So
So the
there
thing
are
is,
two
first
different
is
things to that. Yeah.
big picture. If RBI gave capacity to the mutual fund industry and उसमें हमें proportionate कुछ मिल गया 50, 120 million जो भी based on our size, so we should take it and plug it with the flexi cap fund and buy
Right.
five, six names, whatever. Because then the objective is not so much that those five, six stocks are beating some global benchmark. You
Right.
are doing it to beat
Uh,
the Indian and
Indian.
add to the Indian performance. And you will say कुछ नहीं हुआ तो 4% करेंसी के मिल जाएंगे kind of thing.
Right. Right.
So that would be easy and you can find four stocks. But the reason, if you're doing a full-fledged global fund, like we have currently got, which is from, which is currently 190 million US, you're also one investor there. So that fund has been running from 2017. Now, when I was thinking, कि यार, because many people say कि take Indian LRS money now, and because now we have the mutual fund organization, we have distribution, we have these tie-ups, so we can ask those agents, distributors, if you want to do a deal to sell our offshore fund.
Right.
And I realized this is serious now. अभी तक we were doing it for network of friends, family, and all these guys that I know in Singapore. That the reason for our outperformance or okay performance was that we are doing a benchmark is MSCI World. Okay.
Right.
उसमें last few years में क्या हुआ? If you put your money in US versus the world, you will outperform. Within US, if you put your money in tech, you will outperform the US, and the US will outperform the world, so you will outperform the world. थर्डली अगर आप टेक में भी कहो हमने नेटफ्लिक्स गूगल स्पॉटिफाई ये अमेजोन माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एप्पल एक दो टेस्ला
Fang stocks plus Palantir plus
एनवीडिया ये सब ले लिए तो ये
Nvidia.
आउटफॉर्म एवरीबॉडी तो हमने ये किया था
Okay.
बाकी में हमारे कोई पैसे नहीं बने कि हमने जो ट्राई मारा कि हम वॉल्ट डिज्नी ले लें हमने
Right.
सोनी भी लिया था वो सब घूम फिर के बराबर सो दैट वर्कड But that is not a model you can take to the world if you are saying my benchmark is MSCI World. Because then somebody will get up and say, last year Japanese market went up. Were you tracking it? होंगे "हाँ, थोड़ा सा किया तो था. But we didn't invest there because it's an aging society. अब लोग बेचारे कंफ्यूज होकर चले जाएंगे कि अच्छा ये रीजन बड़ा ये नहीं पता कि वो सब बुल रन चल रहा है. So, why didn't you invest in Diageo in UK? You see, these days people not drinking enough. कुछ भी कहानी बना दोगे because you didn't. Oh, why didn't you invest in China? Because वहाँ पे ये हो गया था, वो हो गया था, कुछ कुछ. So this is a very difficult ongoing game. For that, we need to be ready. If that is what we want to do, which I think when you guys are making some money, then we can say कि
That
हम
time we
पांच
will.
एनालिस्ट रख रहे हैं जो जापान जाते हैं 3 महीने में चाइना जाते हैं 2 महीने में यूरोप घूम रहे हैं 6 महीने
And they should
यूएस
know their
में
local
बंदे
language
हमेशा है
also and
ये
stuff.
नहीं कि हमने ना लाइक आई टेल दिस स्टोरी आई रेड दिस बुक चिप वॉर
Right.
and I bought Nvidia. By the way, today ordered another book, which is also on Nvidia, because this book, I don't even know the name. I just ordered it because it has been named the Financial Times Book of the Year for this year. And this book on Nvidia, which is Chip War, was the book of the year by Financial Times for 22.
Okay.
So two
Okay.
times they have basically made the book on Nvidia
Nvidia.
as the book of the year. So ये मैंने सुबह FT पढ़ते पढ़ते I ordered it on Amazon, whatever the name of the book is. So the point is, I say with great pride कि I read this book and I bought. I bought means the fund bought Nvidia because it was a friends and family type fund.
Right.
Then I say I read Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson and I said he's worth betting on. So I put some money in Tesla और double हो गया था. अब you
You
can't
heard his
believe.
interview also, by the way, I remember.
हाँ
And you said when he said that I'm the biggest AI company,
Correct. He had said in on CNBC. What I'm saying is, you can't run a fund like that. You can't go to the Indian public and say, just believe that I will in the next few years read another book. So my point is, you cannot do a global fund randomly. You can invest randomly. So I invested randomly in the sense my circle knew what I was doing, that I am investing my money and you will get the same, and we'll basically do what you would do personally, we can do in a
Right.
fund structure and all that. So इसलिए वो fund is not meant for this thing, and but I don't think it is easy for an India oriented this thing to do it unless they really, because we say for India we have 15 investment people, here is a track record for 30 years, you tell us which year we have not made it from one stock, we every year did this. You can't say that today. So I
Yeah.
would say Indian guys should invest abroad and invest in MSCI World Index, MSCI World ex-US Index. If you want tech, invest in Nasdaq 100. I have done now, even in that fund itself, China, I bought the China tech in ETF because this
Right.
is world is cannot handle like this.
Right.
World is not five companies. It was five companies,
Really.
but it will not be five companies, even if they
Not
are for
fun.
1 year. So that's why we are not doing it. We don't have the capacity to do so much.
One last question for the Dhan Ki Baat episode, this episode of Dhan Ki Baat, is that most of the, some of our investors, not most of them, some of the investors tell us that we should be meeting the investors once in a year, answering their queries, their questions
अच्छा अच्छा
on
लाइक
why
हाँ
we
हाँ
bought a
हाँ आई
stock and
अंडरस्टूड.
all that. So,
ये जो
what's your
कभी
view on
रीजन
this?
हाँ, तो हमको ट्विटर में मेरे से बोलते हैं सो वी शुड डू इट, उसमें क्या डाउन साइड है. एनीवे आई मस्ट बी द मोस्ट टॉकिंग फंड मैनेजर ऑफ इंडिया, और एंड यू आर द सेकंड.
Most.
एंड यू गॉन आफ्टर मी. हम तो अपने नए नए कलरफुल स्पेक्स पहन के पहुंच जाएंगे, हम उसमें क्या है. सो वी कैन आंसर ऑल दीज क्वेश्चन, वी हैव आंसर्ड them in every podcast ki why I bought this and why you, they ask me why the mutual fund bought. I said how do I know? Some of them I don't buy what you buy. Some of them I know because the analyst said so I also have bought. So the
Right.
point is, these questions I've been answering for 30 years. We have done everyday podcast. I must have done two last week only.
Right.
So then we should do. It's a marketing issue. But if these guys think they can organize, otherwise we can do a webinar, open
You
webinar,
can do
let the
that. Yeah.
public ask. Point is, the question will not be new. Question will be that 50 stocks we own, why we own, or
Right.
30 stocks we don't own, why we don't own, or
Right.
50 IPOs, why we didn't buy, or what is our view on IPOs, or why we bought this IPO. So that is easy to do. We can do it anytime. Ask your guys. I have no problem with it.
ठीक है. We'll do that, Samir. We'll check with my marketing team and get back to you on this one. But thank you once again for being on the show, and thank you all the viewers who are watching this episode. Thank you, Samir.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.